Hello, everyone. This is Melina and
Jordan.
And we're the board certified babes.
Babes.
And this is Dr. Jared Van. This is part 2 of our episode because we're having so much fun. Now we had to break it up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're gonna jump right into it. Okay, so you've sat on both sides of this. You've been the behavior interventionist in someone's home. You're now the researcher publishing journal articles, things of that sort. So, how does the field look different from each viewpoint?
Interestingly enough, I feel like the researchers aren't sometimes listening to what the practitioners are saying enough. It's so interesting seeing it from this perspective because it's like, okay, I'm interested in my research and I want to push out my research, but then I have to ask, what is the social significance for the practitioners? How are they going to be able to use it? When it comes to this whole precision teaching thing, it's great if I build all this stuff up, but if people get scared or grossed out or like, ugh, by precision teaching, just by that term, then it's going to be a barrier to climb that it's like then my stuff can't even get shared out. So one of the things that I learned to do when I started my program was starting to put things in layman's terms better and then say a lot of people don't have time, effort, or even the money to buy all these articles or to read all these articles. So how can I share what I learned in quick bits to other individuals? So that's like getting the information out to the people. Then also like listening to practitioners, like what do you want? What do you need? What do you feel like there's not enough of? Like hearing what you were saying just recently off the podcast was really interesting because I never thought about it like that. And I was like, yeah, there isn't enough of that. And I'm like, yeah, I hope that you are in a position where you can really build that literature base and that research base so that practitioners can go in and use it. So, yeah.
So piggybacking off of that comes to the next question. So that you hit it. There's a gap between the two, right? Research, practitioners, implementation, social validity. Who or what side is responsible for closing the gap?
Actually, I think it's the universities that are responsible for it. One thing that I learned at the university was there's the science of reading that we know is super effective when it comes to teaching students how to read, having high literacy rates, how to comprehend all those things. But a lot of students that were in general education weren't learning the science of reading. Yeah. They were learning, I asked them, because I had a class, they all have to take one special ed class, and I TA'd for one of the special ed classes that all the general ed students had to come into, and they were like, I was like, what do you guys learn? And they're like, well, how to arrange our classroom, and we learn about different theories. I don't know if that's how it is in every education, but I'm like, bruh, like, we have a lot of stuff in applied behavior analysis that y'all need to learn. So I was like, one time my professor was gone, and I was like, we gonna learn right now. We gonna do this real quick. Just because it's like, imagine if they don't learn it, they're not gonna use it. Right. So then it comes to when we teach behavior analysts, future behavior analysts, people who are RBTs who wanna become BCBAs. What are the critical things that we need to teach them to be able to be good BCBAs, to be able to not just do one job, but to be presented with a problem and solve it using the science based on what they've learned. That should be the goal. So the research needs to inform what's being taught, and then the teachers need to teach it. And then the practitioners also need to kind of come together and be like, hey, how are we supervising? I know my supervisor was very good at going over a whole bunch of stuff with me and being like, what are you seeing? What is this? What are you learning right now? And then going over terms and explain it to me in layman, so the supervisors on site got to also realize they are one of the, if not the biggest mentors of the next ones coming up.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I feel like I just had so many light bulbs go off about just like, what the potential could be for a great agency, and just like, just everything that you were saying. I love it. Sorry.
No. I mean, it's true. And it's like there needs to be that like feedback loop of like, we're researching, they're learning, they're implementing, and then we're getting the feedback back. Because, a lot of the types of research that that goes very sterile environments like that, so they have control over everything, which is rightfully so, but doesn't translate once you get to in-home or like in the clinic, because even a clinic is structured, but there are still variables that just happen, and you can't plan for.
Exactly.
Right. So having that feedback is great, and I never would have thought university.
Yeah,
I was like,
I
research,
putting that
like in there.
Into, because it's true. It's like with the field too. It's like it's ever changing, and so it's like you are kind of hypocritical if you're not doing the same thing of staying up to date and then also disseminating that information back. So that's huge. Yeah. And I mean, that's great too, coming from your perspective, because you're literally at it.
Yeah.
So it's like, that literally is like encouraging to hear, if anything. So,
you're not so far on one side is huge, because I'm sure that you've got colleagues that you work with that are like, no, it's this way and that way, and there can't be anything else.
Exactly.
And it's like, that's rigid.
One of the things that I noticed as a student is, like, I remember I learned what the rates of reinforcement match rates of responding matching law was, right? We had just learned matching law. And I'm like, cool, okay. Then my teacher for practicum, my professor, she changed the rules. So she was like, okay, so for your hours, if you turn them in, you'll get 1/3 of a point. If you don't turn them in, you fail the grade. You fail the class for each week. If you miss a day, you fail the class. And I was like, so we just learned matching law and you're not applying it to the students? So I think that one thing that we have to try to work on is using the science with the way that we educate our students to be able to generate more behavior that we want to see.
That's great. Wow.
I know.
Light bulbs. So
I wish I could be in your class. Okay, keep going.
We have fun.
I bet. It's really funny that you said that once your supervisor left, you're like, all right, guys.
I'm kind of irritated at you right now because you're kind of making me miss being in school, and I don't even want to. Anyways, go ahead.
All right, so looking back at your time in the field, when was the moment you thought, like, why isn't somebody studying this enough? Like, why? And that you wanted to close that or fix that? Or like, why isn't somebody addressed this? When was that time for you? And then you wanted to make the plan.
So as a practitioner, when I was, even before I was getting my master's, I wasn't so interested in why isn't anybody studying this, because I wasn't looking at things critically like that, to be honest with you. A lot of times I would read an article or I would hear something be said and I'm like, okay, that's the way it is. But one thing that I do now is when I'm reading articles, I'm reading more critically. So why did the author say that? Do I believe them? Is that reasonable? What perspective got them to write it like that? And that's the way that I do it now, because just like I said, I wasn't really thinking like that. One of the things that I did experience though, and you might have experienced this too, is when you're a larger male, you mostly get big, aggressive, I don't like using the term aggressive, high frequency of behaviors of hitting, biting, kicking, spitting individuals, right? And I worked really well with them. Felt like the day went by fast. I don't mind
Never
it.
boring.
Exactly. But one of the things I realized is I had a sub case. My guy was out, so I went to another client, and they were like, yeah, so this client is basically, we're going to be phasing him out of the program, so he really doesn't need anything. You kind of just go to all the classes with him. And this was the first time I'd ever been with that kind of client before. So I'd always kind of been where it's like, we just got this client and we really need you on this case. But I'd never been at the end of it where it's like, yeah, we're kind of phasing out, just kind of watch and data collect and everything. And I feel like people like you and me might not have had the opportunity to feel the full range of what the whole treatment plan is going to be like for the individual. And that might scare some people away. We need more males. We need more black males in the field as well. But, and then like I've seen a woman who just got out of training, get one of the students with the highest level of biting, hitting, spitting. He went over, bit her knee, and she's like, get him off of me. And she was hurting, and it was like sad, and I had to like go in there. I was pretty new too, but I was bigger. And I was like, why did they match that? Why did they do that? So, and I never, like, they made her stay with him for another like 2 weeks till they could find somebody else. And then she left the field never to come back, which is totally understandable.
Yeah,
so
the knee is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it was assembly, everybody crisscross applesauce.
Yeah, I was like, how do you get the knee?
I was like, the knee? Oh, man.
So, I mean, we got to look into those things. I think is important. And then when it comes to supporting students with those high levels, being able to actually, provide somebody that has the training to do that. So that's what I thought then.
Nice.
Okay. And that's also hard too, because that is what happens a lot, and then people that had so much potential then leave the field because they just weren't prepared for it. And it's sad because everybody knows like the it factor when they see like they're training somebody, you can sense it, but everyone's just one decision or one incident away from like being out or making a big mistake. And I firmly believe that, like everybody, even as clinicians and BCBAs that helping so many people, we're one decision or one judgment call away from like ruining our career or making a major mistake that hurt somebody. And like we always have to think about it that way and take the responsibility of having that. And then being put in a situation like somebody made a bad decision.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, so you kind of touched on this earlier, but now that you're on the research side of things, how do you make sure that your work stays useful to BCBAs who aren't necessarily in academia?
One of the things that I do is we're all looking for research gaps, I feel like. But one of the things that I'm doing is I'm looking for where can we apply our science in ways, in areas that that we're just not in right now. So one of my articles that I published was on the classroom learning screening, a way that we can measure learning that's not racially biased, right? So that students aren't disproportionately placed into special education. That is something that it's like, here's an assessment. You as a BCBA can go into multiple schools and just work with students, measuring their academic skills, and then being able to say, okay, these are some things that they need with help with learning, the students on the right track or whatever, supporting them. That's somewhere that I don't think that we are right now. And I feel like I'm helping give additional tools to BCBAs so they don't have to be stuck in one setting, in one environment, or only doing one thing. I think over at Team ABA, I sometimes work with Kirk Kirby. He's working on sports performance. And that's another area in which we can really support people. I know somebody who is working with the LA Rams. Or is it the Chargers? I forget which one it is.
LA.
But yeah, I think it's with the Chargers. But BCBA, working with the Chargers. So imagine you could work in the NFL if you wanted to, and you could be a BCBA doing that. So like, where are areas that we could also work in, and then we can bring more people to the field. We can get more positive notoriety, because the field in the past, like, I'll make a video, I'll say I'm a behavior analyst, or I use behavior analysis, and that comment is coming immediately.
Yes.
Y'all already know the comments. And it might be in this video. And it's like, well, our science isn't just one thing. We're analyzing the environment, and then we're being able to increase or decrease or maintain rate of responding over time. Sounds pretty simple, but there's a lot of ways to do it and things to know about. And it's not just harming people. If you touch a hot stove and you put your hand off of it and you learn not to touch the hot stove, that's behavior analysis right there. So that's how I try to look at it, is how can I give practitioners more tools in their toolkits to be able to expand the breadth with which we can apply our science.
Great work, very much needed, because it's the science of human behavior is essentially what we're working on, right? Behavior is everywhere. There's 7 billion people in the world that you can work with, so there's no shortage there. So like, and the sudden influx in like OBM being so popular and things like that is just a testament to how well our science can translate into other realms. Like you said, in the NFL, right? I know Wes is doing stuff with the Olympics rugby team, right? And Kirk Kirby, who actually was asking if I'd put anything in to like submitted any papers. I was like, nah, I did it. I was like, next year we'll figure something out. And so then that brings me back to this because there is research that's required typically in order to get started in somewhere new, right? And then that person is like, oh, I can try this, and they write something about it. And this. So for somebody who might be aspiring to dive into research, look into getting their PhD, and they're afraid of finances because, picking up and leaving, like what you just mentioned, right? What would you say to them?
I would say reach out so if you're interested in doing research, I'm sure there's an area of research that you're interested in. Look out for articles and authors and scientists and professors that are doing that research. Usually they'll be stationed at a university. Find their university email, find their Instagram, whatever. Message them. Ask them, are you guys taking on new doc students? Or do you have a lab? Are you taking on specifically students that you would be willing to supervise for their program? Like, ask those things, because we typically are professors who are interested in taking on new students and bringing them to the university, especially when they are interested in it, because it's not a lot, of people that are interested in it. And work with them to be able, and if they don't have something, oftentimes they know someone that has something, that's looking for someone, that's looking for a doc student. That's how I would recommend, is just reach out. We love getting emails. We're always looking at our email because we're always trying to publish something and we're waiting for an email back on whether or not it got published or if there's edits back or all that stuff. So we're always very, very into our emails. So I would highly recommend just reaching out to any of those people and seeing what, if anything, they can do to help you get to the next step.
Okay, I'm gonna throw in a question that we didn't necessarily go over, but as someone that is passionate about social justice, and then also as someone who personally struggles with anxiety, with the climate that we are in right now, do you have any recommendations on how we can, whether use precision teaching or ABA in general, to help us mentally as we're taking in everything that's going on right now?
My first thing would be read. One of the best things that I can do to better calm myself down is read. And one of the books that I recently read was Let This Radicalize You. One of the authors is Miriam Kaba. I forget the first author. But when you read stuff that's kind of in that social justice space, it can really help you. One of the things you begin to understand is it's not everybody's job to be in the front lines, to be holding the signs, to be over there. If we're going to have a movement, some people need to be baking the food for the people to be able to go to the front. Everybody has a job, You know what I mean? So finding where you fit in, and also then finding spaces of community where you can, one of the things that I just did is I did the Black Panthers wellness run in Oakland, and then I was able to connect with a whole bunch of people that were ex-Panthers that were still doing mutual aid, and I was like, oh, you guys, what do you guys need the most? And I was at this mutual aid stand that had food and stuff, and they're like, what we need most is bodies. We need people that are willing to come in for a few hours to do some stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. So my plan is to go in there and support them. Now I'll start whatever you want me to do, but hopefully along the way, I can work with them. Maybe it comes to working with kids to improve their reading fluency or learn how to read and stuff like that. Whatever I fit in to be able to do that, being able to support your direct community, that's what will often make you feel better and less anxious.
Yes.
And then, we can get into the precision teaching stuff, but to be real right now, reading and then going out into your community and supporting them, that will really make the changes, because we see all of these things that we scroll on on our feeds and all the terrible things that are happening. And a lot of people say it's like intentional to make you feel overwhelmed, like there's nothing you can do. But there's always something that you can do in your community, even if it's just bringing a can of food to your mutual aid center that surrounds you, or your charity center or whatever. Being able to just support in those kind of ways makes a difference, and you'll feel better.
Yeah, I love that. That's helpful. And I do agree. I think that is something that has been helpful for me. So that great reminder.
Yeah.
No, that was a great question. Oh, yeah.
We can wrap it up.
Yeah. It was great. Well, here's something just to end as a last question. Like, what, if anything, that you would like to share that you're working on now, that you're like super passionate about, you're excited about? Where can people find you? So we're gonna put it up there anyway. But
yeah. All my socials, Jared Van Education. I'll be at ABAI presenting 3 times. I'll be at
3 times.
Presenting 3 times. There's a secret to how to present multiple times. I'll tell you guys off. But
That's so fun.
I have my dissertation, the actual study with anxiety. I'm working on publishing that, so I'm waiting back to hear from the publisher. I'm publishing outside of ABA because ABA is great, but I think that what do they call it? School psychologists could really use it, so I'm trying to publish in a school psychology journal. Then I'm trying to come up with a whole lot of other publications on the side. But just read my publications so far, like if you actually, or just download them. They love to see the numbers of people, how many download them. I need those numbers up. It's
Just
like my
keep
mixtape. Download my mixtape, you know? So, yeah, I mean, that's that. Oh, and then I do have a podcast, The Learner is Always Right. So, yeah, that's it.
Amazing. And do you sleep? Actually, let's end there.
Yeah, I go to bed super early now.
Oh, good for you.
I go to bed early, and I'm just focused on trying to earn my time to play my Pokemon Leaf Green.
Love it. That's hilarious. And congratulations again
Thank
on
you.
the engagement.
Yeah,
So happy
congrats.
for you.
Thank
We
you.
love.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
No, of course.
And thank you again, Dr. Jared Van, for joining us. And thank you for all the work that you do.
And the inspiration that you instill in so many,
Yes.
Thank you.
including me and her.
And thank you guys for joining us, and we will talk to you again soon.
Bye.